Hello everyone, welcome to our lesson. We're going to discuss about the anatomy and evolution of the nervous system. So, what is the nervous system and why is it important? No? What is the function of the nervous system? The nervous system is your body's main command center. It's like the CPU of your body, originating from your brain, then controlling your movements, your thoughts, the automatic responses known as the reflexes, and of course, it controls a lot of body system functions and processes such as digestion, respiration, breathing, sexual development, and also diseases, accidents, toxins, and the natural process of aging. This is also very important, especially on controlling the processes that happens in your body, movement, as well as the production of hormones, neurotransmitters. It's really essential. Everything that our body does every day, as to sleeping and waking, it is controlled by the nervous system. So, these are the main functions of the nervous system: thoughts, memory formation, learning, emotions and feelings, movement such as balance and coordination, which also includes non voluntary movements like respiration and digestion. Also the senses, including how your brain interprets what you see, hear, taste, touch, and feel through the receptors. Sleep, healing, and aging is also controlled by your nervous system. Heartbeat, breathing patterns, the circadian rhythm is also controlled by your nervous system. Response to stressful situations, digestions, the feeling of hunger and thirst, the body processes as like puberty is also controlled by your nervous system. This is a very complex organization of systems in your body which controls everything that you do. This regulates your body system and allows you to experience your environment, all the stimuli that your body receives. No, this is how important your nervous system is. The nervous system is comprised and divided into two main parts, which are the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The CNS is your brain and the spinal cord, and your brain uses your nerves to send signals to the rest of your body. Each nerve has a protective layer called myelin. No? The myelin insulates the nerve and helps the messages get through your body. And also, the nervous system contains billions of cells called neurons or nerve cells. Later on, we're going to discuss what are the nerve cells. These are the neurons and the glial cells. The peripheral nervous system, on the other hand, consists of many nerves that branch out from your CNS all over your body. So this system relays information from your brain and the spinal cord to your organs, arms, legs, fingers, toes, and etc. So your peripheral nervous system contains two parts, the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system guides your voluntary movements. No? These are your muscles, the skeletal fibers, which are voluntarily done by your body, while the autonomic nervous system controls the activities that you do without thinking them, like digestion, respiration, automatic body processes. This is controlled by the autonomic nervous system. So this is the main organization of the nervous system. You can see here the diagram. You can see the how is it being divided through the central nervous system, which consists the brain and the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, which consists of the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system, which is also involuntary body processes, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system as subdivision of the autonomic nervous system. The spinal cord is a long cylinder of nerve tissue that extends from the medulla, and this connects the brain to your peripheral nervous system. So this is actually the most caudal structure of the brain. So what do you mean by caudal? Caudal means it's more of a tail-like structure. Pahaba yung figure niya. Down to the first lumbar vertebra. Okay, this connects your brain to your lower back, and this helps send signal from your brain going to those different spinal and cranial nerves, and from This peripheral nervous system connecting it to your central nervous system or to your brain. Again, the spinal cord carries nerve signals from your brain to your body and vice versa. Afferent and efferent process. These nerve signals help you feel sensations and move your body. So if there are damages in your spinal nerve, sometimes you cannot move. No, there are processes or there are hindrance in your locomotor movement, which also affects also other processes in your body. No, not only movement. Any damage to your spinal cord can affect your movement or functions. The spinal cord is divided into cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and coccygeal segments. It contains 31 segments. In addition to carrying messages to and from the brain, the spinal cord provides a variety of protective and motor reflexes. So also the spinal cord is responsible for those automatic responses and reflexes. Just like what I've mentioned, it consists of the 5 subdivisions, no? The spinal nerves. These are divided into 31 segments, 8 cervical nerves, 12 thoracic nerves, 5 lumbar nerves, 5 sacral nerves, and a single coccygeal nerves. Okay, let's proceed now to the brain. The brain is divided into 3 major subdivisions: the hindbrain, the midbrain, and the forebrain. The hindbrain is the most caudal division of the brain, which includes the medulla, the pons, and the cerebellum. The brainstem then connects the brain to your spinal cord. This is the lower 2/3 of the brain, which includes the hindbrain and the midbrain. So, metencephalon, this is the subdivision or the division of the hindbrain, which contains the pons and the cerebellum. So the pons is structured in the metencephalon between the medulla and midbrain. And the cerebellum is a structure located in the metencephalon that participates in balance, muscle tone, muscle coordination, and some types of learning and higher cognitive functions. I believe it's cerebellum, which is the largest part of your brain. Here are the brain parts. We have 3 subdivisions: the hindbrain, the forebrain, and the midbrain, and its corresponding other parts, more specific parts. I hope you can familiarize the different parts of your brain, especially those that are important. Okay, let's proceed now to the midbrain. The midbrain is the division of the brain that lies between the hindbrain and the forebrain. The mesencephalon, another term for midbrain, is the division of the brain that lies between the hindbrain and the forebrain. Cephalon, by the way, refers to the head. No, it means the head. Also, these are the other subparts of your midbrain. Please try to help yourself by reading the textbook and try to familiarize the functions and the structures. Another is the forebrain. The forebrain is the division of the brain which contains the diencephalon and the telencephalon. Diencephalon contains the thalamus and hypothalamus, located at the midline just above the mesencephalon or midbrain. The telencephalon contains the bulk of the symmetrical left and right cerebral hemispheres. The cerebral hemisphere is one of the 2 large globular structures that make up the telencephalon of the forebrain. And here are some important parts. We have the thalamus. This processes sensory information that contributes to the states of arousal and participates also in learning and memory formation. The hypothalamus is a structure found in the diencephalon which regulates hunger, thirst, sexual behavior, and aggression, responsible also for emotion processes. This is part of your limbic system or the reward system of your body. The pituitary gland is a gland located just above the roof of the mouth that is connected to the hypothalamus and serves as a major source of hormones. This regulates and produces hormones, your pituitary gland. And here are some parts. Let's just focus on the major parts of the limbic system. We have the hippocampus. This is responsible on long-term declarative memories. Amygdala is responsible also for emotional processes. Next is we have the 3 lobes of the brain. We have 4 lobes, and not actually 3 lobes, but 4 lobes of the brain. We have the frontal, parietal, temporal, and occipital lobes of the brain. So what are the functions of each lobe of the brain? The frontal lobe is responsible for cognitive functions and control of voluntary movements or activities. The parietal lobe is responsible for the processes of body information in temperature, taste, touch, movement, also for thirst and hunger. That's also the functions of your parietal lobe. The temporal lobe is the one who processes memories, integrating them with the sensation of taste, sound, sight, and touch. This is responsible for memory formation. For the occipital lobe of the brain, this is responsible for your vision. No, it's actually found at the back part of your brain, but its responsible is for vision. Here are the major structure of the central nervous system as found and summarized in the table. I hope you can see this and try to familiarize every function and structure of the hindbrain, the midbrain, and the forebrain. Now let's move on to the peripheral nervous system. So the role of the peripheral nervous system is to carry sensory information from the body to the spinal cord and the brain and bring back the body's commands for appropriate responses. So the PNS contains three structural divisions: the cranial nerves, the spinal nerves, and the autonomic nervous system. The cranial nerves and the spinal nerves are actually what you call as the somatic nervous system. So the somatic nervous system brings sensory input to the brain and spinal cord and returns commands to the muscles. So this corresponds to the voluntary processes of your body. So for somatic nervous system, they are more of an efferent type, wherein the sensory input is being relayed to the muscles. Next, let's go to the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves. So these two are the divisions or the compositions of your somatic nervous system. So for the cranial nerves, this consists of 12 pairs of nerves that exit the brain as part of the peripheral nervous system, while the spinal nerves are consisting of 31 pairs of spinal nerves that exit the spinal cord to provide sensory and motor pathways to the torso, arms, and legs. And now to the autonomic nervous system. This is the subdivision of the peripheral nervous system that directs to the activity of the glands, organs, and smooth muscles of the body. This commands the heart, lungs, and digestive system and other organs that controls also the involuntary functions and regulates the glands. So unlike somatic nervous system, the processes done by the autonomic nervous system are involuntary, like we have digestion and respiration. We have also here the afferent nerve, the nerve that carries sensory information to the central nervous system, while an efferent nerve carries motor commands away from the central nervous system. Okay, subdivisions of the autonomic nervous system are sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. For the sympathetic nervous system, it controls the body's responses to a perceived threat and responsible for the fight or flight responses. In oppositional with the sympathetic nervous system, it balances it with the parasympathetic nervous system, which controls the body's homeostasis and the body at rest and responsible for digestive function. So if the sympathetic nervous system functions is for contraction, then the parasympathetic nervous system functions is for relaxation. Ayun. So this is the chart of the peripheral nervous system and the central nervous system. I hope you can have a picture of this one and familiarize the main structure and subdivisions of your nervous system. We have here the central nervous system, consists again of the brain and the spinal cord, integrative and control centers of your body. Then moving to the peripheral nervous system, it sends signal action potential going into the peripheral nervous system that can send sensory input to your body through the sensory afferent division, and it conducts impulses from receptors to the central nervous system. And what are the different types of receptors? We have photoreceptors that signals light. We have mechanoreceptors that signals movement, vibration. We have also what else? Chemoreceptors that signals chemicals, no? And so much more. Another subdivision is we have the motor or the efferent division that conducts impulses from the central nervous system to the muscles and glands. So it comes from the CNS going to the muscles and glands. Unlike afferent, which conducts impulses from the receptors going to the brain or to the central nervous system. So this motor efferent division consists of two major subdivisions again, autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system conducts impulses from the CNS to cardiac muscles, smooth muscles, and glands, while the somatic nervous system conducts impulses from the central nervous system to the skeletal nervous system. So, autonomic nervous system is more of involuntary function, while for the somatic nervous system is more of voluntary functions. For the autonomic nervous system, it is further subdivided into two major divisions, sympathetic division and parasympathetic division. For the sympathetic division, this is controlling more of the fight and flight response of your body, while the parasympathetic division promotes housekeeping functions and rest and relaxation. So let's proceed now to the major structure of your peripheral nervous system. We have here the cranial nerves, the spinal nerves, and the autonomic nervous system. The cranial nerves and the spinal nerves again consist or makes the somatic nervous system. We have also Broca's area. This is the area near the primary motor cortex and the frontal lobe that participates in speech production. And I hope you can actually read the whole reference textbooks and the videos I've attached to your course. No, this will help you understand more the complexities and the functions, the different structures of the different parts of the nervous system. And now let's proceed to the evolution of the nervous system. It was Charles Darwin who proposed the theory of evolution to account for the orderly progression of the change from one version of a species to the next. It was natural selection that which favorable traits would become more common and unfavorable traits would become less common in subsequent generations due to the differences among organisms in their ability to reproduce successfully. So now we're still continually evolving, with all of the characteristics being transferred from one generation throughout the next generation through our genes. Now, the nervous system is a relatively recent development in the course of evolution. Fitness is what they call or termed as the ability of an organism with one genetic makeup to reproduce more successfully than organisms with other types of genetic makeup. So human beings have experienced very rapid brain growth, possibly in response to the challenges of using tools, language, social behavior, and learning to plan for the future. And that is the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day. Goodbye.